Lions Nation, something extraordinary is brewing in the scouting department right now, and I need you to pay close attention because what I'm about to break down could define our defensive secondary for the next decade. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your premier destination for all the latest updates, insider analysis, and breaking news on our beloved Detroit Lions. I'm here every single day, bringing you exclusive content that keeps you ahead of the curve, and today's discussion centers on a prospect that has scouts around the league buzzing with excitement, a defensive back who could be the missing piece that elevates our already elite defense to historically dominant levels. This isn't just another draft prospect analysis. This is about identifying the exact type of talent that Brad Holmes has built his reputation on finding. The kind of player who does his job at an elite level without needing the spotlight, and someone who could seamlessly fit into Aaron Glenn's defensive philosophy. Stick with me through every detail, because by the end of this breakdown, you're going to understand exactly why this particular player should be at the top of Detroit's draft board come April. Let me set the stage for where we are as a franchise right now, because understanding our current position is crucial to appreciating why this potential addition makes so much sense. The Detroit Lions are sitting pretty as one of the most complete teams in the NFL, with an offense that can score on anyone and a defense that's shown significant improvement under Aaron Glenn's leadership. We've built something special in Motown, and the front office led by Brad Holmes has demonstrated an incredible ability to identify talent that fits our culture and our system. But as we all know, championship teams are never satisfied with where they are. They're constantly looking ahead, constantly evaluating how to get better, constantly searching for that next piece that can push them over the top. Our secondary has been solid this season, but there's always room for improvement, especially when you're trying to build a defense that can shut down the elite passing attacks we face in the playoffs. The NFC is loaded with talented quarterbacks and explosive receiving corps, and if we want to make deep postseason runs year after year, we need cornerbacks who can lock down their assignments in single coverage, allowing our defensive line to get home with the pass rush. That's the formula that wins championships in today's NFL, and that's exactly what Brad Holmes is looking for as he prepares for the 2026 NFL Draft. Now, before we get to the specific player I want to discuss, let me give you some context about the scouting process and how the Lions approach draft preparation. While most fans are focused on the games happening right now, the scouting department is already deep into evaluation mode for next year's draft class. They're watching college games every single weekend, breaking down film, attending practices, talking to coaches and teammates, building comprehensive profiles on hundreds of prospects. It's a year-round process that requires incredible attention to detail and a clear understanding of what you're looking for in terms of scheme fit, character, and developmental potential. The Lions have been particularly successful in recent years at identifying defensive backs who fit their system. We've seen them hit on picks in various rounds, finding players who understand assignment football, who play with discipline, who don't chase stats, but simply do their jobs at a high level. That's the Brad Holmes and Aaron Glenn philosophy in a nutshell. Find smart, tough, fundamentally sound players who can execute the game plan without needing to be the hero on every play. And when you find those players, you build a defense that's greater than the sum of its parts, a unit that plays with cohesion and consistency week after week. This brings me to the SEC, which has long been considered the premier conference for developing NFL talent, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Year after year, SEC defensive backs dominate the draft process, getting selected early and going on to have successful professional careers. The level of competition they face week in and week out prepares them for the speed and physicality of the NFL in ways that other conferences simply can't match. When you're going up against elite quarterbacks and receivers every single Saturday, you're getting battle-tested in ways that translate directly to success at the next level. And there's one particular SEC cornerback who's been turning heads all season long. A player who made a significant decision last offseason that's paying off in a major way. This cornerback was already a highly regarded prospect after his junior season at a different school, but he elected to enter the transfer portal and find a new home where he could showcase his skills on an even bigger stage. That decision has proven to be brilliant because all this season has done is reinforce why he was considered one of the top options available in the portal, and now he's seeing legitimate top 10 NFL draft potential. Let me give you some numbers that illustrate just how dominant this player has been. Among 917 qualifying cornerbacks tracked by Pro Football Focus, this player has the 5th best grade in the entire country. Think about that for a second. Out of nearly 1,000 corners playing college football, this guy ranks in the top 5 in terms of overall performance. That's not just good, that's elite. And it's exactly the kind of production that gets Brad Holmes' attention. The Lions have built their recent success on finding players who grade out exceptionally well in the areas that matter most. And this cornerback checks every single box. Now, some fans might look at traditional stats like interceptions and think those are the most important metrics for evaluating cornerbacks. And while turnovers are certainly valuable, they don't tell the complete story. The best cornerbacks in the NFL are often the ones who don't get tested frequently because quarterbacks know better than to throw in their direction. This particular prospect has 1 interception on the year, but he's also tied his career best with 8 pass deflections, which shows he's consistently in position to make plays on the ball when it comes his way. More importantly, his PFF grade indicates he's doing all the little things right: proper technique, sound positioning, physical play at the line of scrimmage, and the ability to stay with receivers through the entire route. The player I'm talking about is Mansour Delane from LSU, and Lions fans need to start getting familiar with this name because he represents exactly the type of prospect Brad Holmes has shown he values. Delane made the move from Virginia Tech to LSU after his junior season, seeking a bigger stage and tougher competition, and he's absolutely thrived in the SEC. Playing in the toughest conference in college football against the best offensive talent in the country, Delane has proven he belongs among the elite cornerback prospects in this draft class. What makes Delane such an intriguing prospect for the Lions is his fit within Aaron Glenn's defensive scheme. Glenn values corners who can play press coverage, who are physical at the line of scrimmage, who don't get beat deep, and who understand their responsibilities within the overall defensive structure. Delane embodies all of those qualities. He's not a guy who's going to gamble and leave his assignment to chase interceptions. He's going to stay disciplined, execute his technique, and make life difficult for whoever he's covering. That's winning football, and that's exactly what the Lions need as they continue building toward sustained championship contention. Now, I need to be honest with you about where Delane is projected to go in the draft because it's important to set realistic expectations. Currently, with his performance this season and his rising stock, Delane is being discussed as a potential top 10 pick. That would require the Lions to make a significant trade up from wherever they end up picking as a playoff team, which would cost valuable draft capital. However, there's still a lot of football left to be played, and the scouting process is far from over. Players rise and fall in draft evaluations all the time based on how they finish the season, how they perform at the combine, how their interviews go, and how teams ultimately value their specific skill sets. Brad Holmes has shown he's willing to be aggressive when he identifies a player he believes can be a cornerstone of the franchise. We've seen him trade up in previous drafts when the right opportunity presented itself. And if he falls in love with Delane's tape and believes he's the long-term answer at cornerback, I wouldn't put it past him to make a bold move. The question becomes whether the value is there, whether the cost of moving up is worth what you're giving up, and whether Delane is significantly better than other cornerback options who might be available later in the draft. What I can tell you is that Delane fits the profile of players the Lions have targeted in recent years. He's a high-character guy who transferred to LSU specifically to challenge himself against the best competition. He's a technically sound player who doesn't rely solely on athleticism, but plays with discipline and intelligence. He's proven he can perform at a high level in the biggest games against the toughest opponents. And perhaps most importantly, he's a player who seems to understand that cornerback is about consistency and reliability more than it is about highlight reel plays. Those are the intangibles that Brad Holmes values, and they're the reasons why Delane should absolutely be on Detroit's radar as we head toward the draft. The timing of this evaluation is particularly relevant because the Lions have a huge game coming up on Sunday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles. But before that, there's a full Saturday slate of college football where scouts will be watching prospects closely. Delane and his LSU Tigers are taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks at 12:45 Eastern, and you can bet that Lions scouts will have their eyes locked on number whatever jersey Delane is wearing, breaking down every snap, every technique, every decision he makes on the field. This is how championship organizations operate. They're always thinking ahead, always evaluating, always looking for ways to get better. Now, I want to hear from you. Lions Nation, what do you think about the possibility of trading up to get a cornerback like Mansour Delane? Would you be willing to give up the draft capital necessary to move into the top 10 if Brad Holmes believes Delane is a future All-Pro? Or would you rather stay put and take the best player available at our natural draft position? How important is it to you that we continue upgrading the secondary as we try to build a defense that can win championships? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to know how you're feeling about our draft strategy heading into the offseason. In conclusion, Mansour Delane represents exactly the type of prospect that should excite Lions fans. He's got the production, the tape, the intangibles, and the scheme fit that Brad Holmes has consistently targeted. Whether or not we end up drafting him will depend on a lot of factors, including how the rest of his season goes, where he ends up being selected, and what other needs we have to address. But make no mistake, this is a name you need to remember as we head toward draft season, because players like Delane don't come around often, and when you have a chance to add elite talent to your secondary, you have to seriously consider making it happen. If you want to stay locked in on all the latest Lions draft coverage, scouting reports, and insider analysis, make sure you're subscribed to Lions News Fan Report. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and smash that like button if this breakdown gave you valuable insights into our draft strategy. We're here every single day, bringing you the content you need to stay ahead of the game. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's keep building something special in Detroit. 1. Pride.